Okay, let's roll into our post-race winning team for the SHOWTIME Southern 500. Denny Hamlin, driver number 11. FedEx Express Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny Hamlin sweeps at Darlington. First time since 1993 that a NASCAR driver has won both the NASCAR Nationwide Series and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races, and Mark Martin did that in 1993. Congratulations, Denny. Super effort out there tonight. Tell us how it happened.
We had just a really good car. I knew right from the first run of the day we had a very strong race car, and at that point it's just all about conserving your equipment for the end of the race. So we chose to take 4 tires more than a lot of guys did during the course of the day. So you saw us kind of go back to 10th, 8th at times, but we always kept good tires on the race car at all times. So that set us up for a charge to the front. I think we got to 4th or so. Then we took, I think, the 2 tires, and other guys kept taking 2 tires over and over again, so their lefts were so old that I knew if we could just get the jump on that last restart, we should have no problem. And from there, it was just clear sailing. So Mike did a great job of adjusting on it all day. It just, we kind of went back and forth with it, but he got it right where it needed to be right there on that last run.
Team President J.D. Gibbs has joined us. J.D., just congratulations. Denny's continues to show that he's a real contender this season.
Yeah, it was. He just did a good job all day. We knew he had a pretty good car. He even said in practice, the car was pretty good. But during the race, there's always a lot of ups and downs. You never know. I think he just did a really good job. He and Mike didn't panic, just worked on it, kept working. And towards the end, the pit crew did a good job, just got yourself in a good spot at the end. So it was a big deal for Joe Gibbs Racing and FedEx and for our team.
Okay, let's take some questions. Let's go up to the press box first, and then we'll come back downstairs. Go ahead, press box.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Denny, there's a lot of times drivers lead the middle stages, dominate various portions, but then when the time comes at the end, they can't get it together. Now, I realize that it's hard to make that kind of a tangible point, but do you think getting some wins under your belt and building self-confidence within the team is important to being able to make the right calls when it really counts?
Well, during the course of my career, I felt like I missed out on a lot of wins the first probably 2 to 3 years of my career. I feel like probably 10 of them I really should not have lost had I had the mindset that I have right now and what it takes to win. And I think the only difference before, when we weren't winning as much, to what we're doing right now is just my mindset and knowing what I need to do to win the race at the end. And so, this is the kind of winning pace that I felt like we should have been on right from the get-go of my career, and now we're just hitting that stride. But it's just taken a while for me to understand how these races play out and what it takes to win. And now that we have, I feel like I've got a better understanding of that. I think it's just going to, continue to go on a roll the way it is.
Take another question upstairs. Go ahead.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Denny, Jimmy won 3 of the first 5 races this season, and now 2 finishes outside the top 30 in the last 3. You've now won 3 out of 6. Is there anything to, being on a streak like this early, worrying that you're not? I know you've talked about this before. You want to peak at the right time. You want to be hitting at all cylinders come chase time. Is it good to be in this zone right now, or are you hoping you're saving a little bit something for the last 10?
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am about us winning right now, because I know what our team is capable of by the time we hit chase time. We're running pretty much last year's cars for the most part, and we're just kind of easing our way into it. So we're not we didn't expect to have the success we thought that we could contend for race wins and maybe get one here and there, the first 12, but we really wanted to come on right after Indy. Was our goal was to turn the light switch on and really go for it. So we'll see what happens, and I think that it's just it's very encouraging for me that we're winning right now under the circumstances.
Let's come downstairs for some questions. Jenna, Jim, and Pete.
Denny, after the way you guys ran last week, and I know Mike seemed a little sensitive about that all weekend, how important was it to come back this weekend? That Richmond is your track. Come back here where you'd never won and get the win and I guess kind of prove something.
Well, I mean, we're winning at all kinds of different racetracks now. At the beginning, it seemed to be pretty much short tracks in Pocono. For the most part. Now we're winning at various different types of racetrack, and that's very encouraging. But, last week was a huge disappointment. But once again, what's encouraging about that is as terrible as I felt like we still drove all the way up to 5th or 4th or something, or 6th at one time. So we were top 10 right there at the end until those last few cautions, and that was with a car that I felt like was inferior. It shouldn't have been in that position. So for us to run that well or on the stat sheet, and I know what potential we had and how much better we could have been, it's very encouraging for me for what's in the future.
Go ahead, Jim, and then Pete.
Jim Otto, Charlotte Observer. For Denny and also JD, if you could just talk about it. It seems like you've had a season's or more worth of stuff going on in what's been not quite a third of a season, just with your injury and everything. What does that say even more about the potential for later this year, considering everything the obstacles that you guys have already faced this season?
Well, I think it just shows where the team's focus is. For one, I think no matter what, the team really had to go through a lot first, through Phoenix and the few races leading up to it when we announced it. So, I think the team never wavered. They stayed focused, and I felt like I really stayed focused on the task at hand, and that's just to me. It just feels like that I just have a total different mindset during the course of these races than what I used to have, and it's obviously for the better.
I think watching Denny, we didn't know, was he going to make it the whole race, that first race, or half a race? What was he going to do? But I think just watching, like I said before, he went up a few notches in my eyes, just the mental toughness, the whole part of it. And I just said, look, for the record, if you ever break your ankle, break your wrist, I don't want to hear it. You're driving the car. So we got that settled.